What's happening, everyone? Steve here, Cars with Steve, and today I'm going to show you everything you need to know about the steering wheel and the cluster inside of the 2022 Hyundai Veloster. Now, this is going to be in-depth, going through everything you need to know. We're going to be looking at some parts of the screen as we navigate through as well. So let's dive into it and see what's going on. Next up, taking a peek at the steering wheel of the vehicle. So beautiful look here. Now we will have a heated steering wheel as well all around, which is definitely a nice thing. And we've got beautiful leather wrap there with this like micro blue stitching there. So I absolutely love the way that this thing looks. We've got our beautiful blue buttons along the bottom there, but we'll get to those ones in just a second. Starting off along the top left, this is going to be our voice command prompt. So that gives us the flexibility to be able to change songs, radio stations, things like that using our voice. We can exit it along the bottom there if we want to. As we move back, we've got our mode button there. And our mode button, same idea, gives us the flexibility to be able to do a few things. So as you can see there, we push the button and we can select what it's going to do. So we can literally button press, and whatever we've button pressed there is going to be exactly what this button does. So if you want to switch between Bluetooth audio, sounds of nature, AM, FM, etc., perfect. And we're going to hit that. And now, there we go. So as we press the button now, it changes between whatever the things that we've selected there. So we can literally customize the button to more or less do what we'd like it to do there, which is a great thing. We can adjust our volume there easily by moving up and down. We can press in the middle as well in order to be able to mute the volume out. This is going to let us just change between active songs or presets. Yes, as you can see there, we're kind of moving between different options as we go. If we're on, let's say, AM, FM, etc., we can just press and hold, so either up or down, to be able to seek and change out stations that way if we wanted to. We can either answer or hang up on a phone call by pressing one of these buttons as well. Looking along the right-hand side, we've got a page button there, which is going to let us figure out what's going on with that cluster screen there. We'll get to that one in just a sec, but we do have our base cruise control in here as well. And we've also got our lane centering system. So that follow system, what that's going to do is literally keep the steering wheel balanced for us as we're driving. So it recognizes the lane markings, and it's pretty much going to take over the steering wheel as it goes in order to be able to keep us in our lane. So we can easily turn that system on or off there if we want to. And that one's different than this follow assist system. So what this base safety system does on the left-hand side there is if we start to veer over into a lane without signaling, it's going to gently nudge us back into our lane. Whereas this one is literally going to help steer for us as we go. So you can turn both of the systems on or off, just depending on which preferences you've got. We've also got our rev button along the bottom there, so we can easily turn rev matching on or off by pressing that button. What the rev matching is going to do is when we go to downshift, so when we're in the 6-speed manual transmission, we go to downshift, your RPMs are going to shoot up higher, and then it's going to give you a more seamless transition as you're changing gears. So definitely a nice thing to keep this one turned on. And then lastly, we've also got this button, and this is going to let us customize a few things. So it's our N mode. So we've got our custom N mode, which when we do that, if we go to our home screen here, we've got our N mode, and that gives us the flexibility to do a ton of different things. So let's flip you around so you can actually see this a little bit more clear. First one is going to be this gorgeous N mode, which look at this. Look at this. So nice, and so much flexibility all at the same time, because we can literally turn the custom mode on, and when we do that, we can customize everything. We can customize part of the engine there, so we've got our rev matching. We can customize a few other things, our exhaust sound even, so how this thing sounds when we're in different exhaust mode. We've got our stability control as well, so we can turn that one on or off, and we can give it different performances, whether that's a normal or a sport performance. Steering is one of the big ones, because we can also go between a normal steering mode, we've got our sport mode, and then our sport mode plus. So that's just going to stiffen up the overall feel for the steering wheel. And it's the same idea with the suspension. So we're in our normal versus our sport plus, and it brings us a completely different feel to the actual vehicle itself. Now we do also have the flexibility of being able to adjust what's going on with the engine. So we've got a normal mode, sport, and our sport plus. And same idea, each one of these as we adjust is going to do something different. So when we're in that sporty or plus mode, it's going to give us better response time for acceleration as well. So if you're doing track driving, ideally you want to have this web open with everything, even the stability control. We want this web pretty much all red. And that's going to be when we're more in that sport mode. So we're going track, things like that. That's when we're going to do that. Now, when we have that sport mode on, or when we have this mode on, it's going to adjust a few other things as well. So on the dash, it's going to have a few other messages coming up because a few of our safety settings are going to be disabled by doing this. But we can literally adjust what everything sounds like with rev matching, things like that. And that's one of the cool things. So Like I said, the rev matching is a nice one because that as we start to change gears in the 6-speed, it's going to rev the engine up a little bit higher as we change gears in order to make that shifting point a little bit smoother. So we do have quite a little bit of flexibility there, but I love the fact we've got this. We've got our G-force in there as well, and when we hit one of these dials, as you can see, it also gives us a few other options. So we've got our single gauge, we've got dual gauges that are available there as well. We can shift out to different minutes, hours, etc. Moving back, we've got our performance timers, so we can literally create laps as well, so we can see what's going on with our acceleration, as well as our best versus last. So if we're taking this thing on the track, we can literally figure out exactly what's going on as we go. We've got some other performance options. So the vehicle itself does have launch control available there. We can easily activate launch control there if we want to, and we can just disable it just as easily. And then we can set our launch control RPMs, and we've also got our shift light. Now the shift light's an interesting one because as our vehicle starts to rev up, it's going to literally give us a little indication on the cluster, letting us know that we should shift at that point. But we could turn it off as well if we want to. We can set the RPMs, and we can also have it sound an alert, or we can just be quiet and give us a little bit of a shifting point notification letting us know that we should shift out. And then from there, we've got a few other gauges there. So we've got our oil, torque, etc. And look at this. We can customize this. We can see exactly what's going on at different points as well over the course of our drive. So if we take it on the track, we can literally see how fast we got, what our coolant temperature was like, and how everything was optimized while we were driving. So it is nice to know that we've got so much flexibility here. I love this. Like, I love that we've got the G-force one on this one. It is so cool. We've got our real time versus history. So if we're, like I said, taking this thing on the track, we want to make sure that we're going through these different pages and options and things like that to see what's going on with our current settings and how we can also optimize that as well. So such a great system. I love the flexibility for the actual N mode and what we can do with this. Really, really nice thing. Now we do have a button along the top there. We'll get to that in just a second, just after we just figure out what's going on here. So left turning stick is going to be exactly that. So it's for our blinkers. We can flash our high beams, lock them out, etc. Or we can figure out what's going on with our running lamps. Stick on the right hand side lets us control what's going on with our wipers, so we can adjust our front wipers, etc. Pull in towards us for front washer fluid, to push away for the rear, and then right along the very tip of it, so we can just kind of make it out there. We can also adjust our rear wiper very simply by moving this one as well. Now the last button, this pages button there, is going to let us figure out what's going on with this screen. So let's zoom in a tiny little bit so you can figure out exactly what's going on as we go. All right, so what I'm going to be doing is pressing this button here in order to be able to move between different pages. And then we're going to be using this one to literally go up and down as well. So we're going up and down, we're going to press OK, or we can press this pages button there again. Starting off along the very top, as you can see, we've got a series of different modes there. We're going to start off very simply on our gauges. So as you can see there, we've got our oil temp, we've got our torque, as well as our turbo gauges. So as we're driving, we can see exactly what's going on. We can see those different options there through this middle screen. So as you can see right along the bottom, we've got our oil temp, torque, and turbo there as well. I personally would always kind of keep this screen up as I'm going because just being able to see this is really useful, especially as we go through all of these different sub-menus there as well. But whether or not you jump through it on this or one of the other options is up to you. Moving in, we've got our lap timer. So you're taking this thing out on a track, literally you start to go, you press OK. We can do another lap there by pressing, and then we press and hold in order to stop, and then we press and hold again to reset. Moving down, we've got our G-force there as well, so we can see exactly what's going on as we're driving. Next over, we've got our fuel economy. Same idea, we're just going to press and hold OK there along the very bottom in order to be able to reset. So it's like I said, this one that's making us go up and down, we press that one in order to reset any of the values there. So it's pretty straightforward. And we've got our fuel economy, accumulated info, our drive info, as well as our digital speedometer. So yeah, we've got the analog one there, but if you have a preference, you want to go kilometers, miles per hour, etc., you've got that flexibility. Pressing this again, we've got our base compass. And one more time, we've got two different settings there. So we've got our attention level. So this is the one that works in conjunction with our system down along the side here. So what's going to happen is as we start to veer over too many times without signaling, now this attention warning level is going to start dropping down and down. So once it reaches the bottom, you're going to get a message letting you know that you should probably take a break. So great safety setting there. Moving down, we've got our other settings. So we press and hold OK in order to be able to get in. Once we do that, it shoots us over to the screen here. And that gives us a lot more options there. So we've got our warning timer, driver attention warnings, forward safety modes, things like that. So there are quite a few other options here. Now, if you want more of a walk around on how all this stuff works, check down in the description below because I have put together a comprehensive video specifically on the media screen. But that is going to be the basics of the actual steering wheel here. So that is pretty cool, right? Like the rev matching alone, I think is absolutely brilliant, but having the ability to customize what's going on inside of the gauges. So being able to customize every little part of the vehicle is something I think is absolutely brilliant. If you have any questions, you ran into any problems, need a little bit of clarification on all these buttons, drop down in the comment section below and let me know. But if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up and share it with your social networks. And until I see you next time, take care.